Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. Amma ba'd. If you remember in lesson 14, we discussed how to make Jumla Ismiya. And that happened after we discussed Murakkab Tawsifi to a significant extent. We looked at Jumla Ismiya and then went back to Murakkab Tawsifi. We are going to revisit Jumla Ismiya today because there is a lot more to know about Jumla Ismiya. As we said at the time, Arabic is unique in a way that you can make Jumla, which means a sentence, without a verb. And that sentence is called nominal sentence, Jumla Ismiya. You just put two nouns together in a way that gives the meaning of a full sentence. Of the current languages, only the sister language Hebrew does have this kind of jumla. All the other languages, they need a verb to make a sentence, to make a jumla. So Jumla Ismiya has two components. It has two nouns put together in a special way. The first noun is called Mubtada and the second noun is called Khabar. We'll come back to that in a sec. Remember, we started Murakkab Tawsifi and we said Waladun Hasanun, a good boy. Then we made this definite and we said Al Waladul Hasanu, the good boy. And then what we did, we made this, the second noun, indefinite. And when we said al-waladu hasanun, that was translated as, or that's what it means, the boy is good. So from going definite to indefinite, that's where the helping word is mr comes to give the meaning of a full sentence in Arabic. But there is no helping verb in Arabic at all. So let's look at this sentence, al-waladu hasanun, the boy is good. In this, al-waladu is the mubtada, which is kind of equivalent to subject as we discussed in lesson 14. And Hasanun is khabar, which is information about mubtada. Mubtada basically means starting point, and khabar is khabar, information, news. And mubtada and khabar combine to make Jumla Ismiya, and we call it Jumla Ismiya Khabariya. In our Murakkab Tawsifi, we had two nouns put together in a way that this was Mawsuf and that was Sifa. This noun described that noun. So making adjective phrase. And that is Jumla Ismiya compared to this. I'm sure you can see the difference because in Jumla Ismiya, the first noun, which is Mubtada, which is our starting point, is definite, and Mubtada, we said last time, is almost always definite, and Khabar is almost always indefinite. So when we look at these four qualities of a noun, we said at the time that Mubtada is in Rafa on its own right, Khabar is in Rafa on its own right. Mubtada is usually definite, Khabar is usually indefinite, and from the other two aspects, jins and other, Khabar follows Mubtada. So that was our basic simple Jumla Ismiya. Now, when I say al-waladu hasanun, the boy is good, you may be wondering whether the boy is really good, and I want to reassure you the boy is indeed good. So how do we say that in Arabic? We bring inna, which is a particle of emphasis. So inna comes at the beginning of this jumla ismiya. So by putting inna here, we'll say innal walada hasanun. Of course, the boy is good. So one thing, the inna has produced emphasis in it, and I'm saying the boy is really good. And second, I'm sure you have noticed that here I have said al waladu, which is in rafa, and here I have written al walada, innal walada. So walad here is in nasab. So one action of inna is to produce emphasis, and the second is that inna takes its noun to the nasab form. So the noun which follows inna will always be mansub. Inna does not have any effect on khabar, so khabar remains in rafa. Now we said that mubtada is on its own right always in rafa, and now the mubtada, the same noun, has gone into the state of nasab. So, and also this is not the starting point anymore because we are starting with inna. So terminology changes here when inna comes. When we add inna to the sentence, so we call this, the first noun, ismo inna, the ism of inna, because that makes sense. It's not in rafa anymore, and we said mubtada is always in rafa. So because it's changed, so terminology changed, and it's called ismo inna. And this is khabar because khabar hasn't changed. So sometimes we just call it khabar, and sometimes we say khabru inna. So ismo inna and khabru inna combine to make jumla ismiya, and there is emphasis in it. Now inna really doesn't have its own meaning. It is just a particle of emphasis, and that's what Arabs do when they have to bring emphasis in their speech. They bring inna. But when we translate into other languages such as English, we will have to then translate that basically emphasis, and then we can say indeed the boy, of course the boy really is. So these are the words which we then use to bring that emphasis in the sentence, and then we say inna means this, inna means indeed, inna means of course, but that's not really exactly the meaning of inna. Inna has a function of emphasis in the sentence.